WWE's Elimination Chamber had overall bad reviews from this past weekend. I didn't see it. The Undertaker appeared on it, confronted AJ Styles. They also did something on Raw tonight. I didn't see it. Anyone that did can let me know how Raw was. Tank Abbott, unfortunately, is back in the hospital. He had a liver and a kidney transplant recently, and he was in the hospital a few weeks ago. He's back in again. This time, his wife has told me, due to a blockage in his small intestine, they inserted an NG tube to pump out the blockage, but he's likely going to have surgery to open it up, and he is in a lot of pain, so I wish him a speedy recovery, and I might try and see him when I'm in California in a couple of weeks. There is that big PCW Ultra show I'm going to be covering there March 27th, featuring many huge stars, including the almighty Sheik Joseph Samel, Jacob Fatu, the Blood Hunter, Shane Douglas, Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt. Huge card, Alex Hammerstone, March 27th. PCWUltra.com has more information, and I'm going to be getting a lot of interviews while I'm out there. Dave Meltzer updated everyone about Scott Steiner. He did undergo the heart procedure. It's still not known exactly what it was, but his family says he's going to be fine. Apparently, he was very lucky that he collapsed in a place where there was medical personnel around at this Impact Wrestling taping, because they were able to start working on him immediately. Apparently, if it had happened in his home, or if he was out somewhere where there was no medical personnel around, he could have possibly had even more serious consequences. So I wish him the best. He probably shouldn't wrestle again, but I know that he saved his money. He does operate a Shoney's, which, by the way, somebody said they don't serve alcohol at Shoney's. I actually looked it up on YouTube. There's actual video of Scott Steiner's Shoney's, and they actually advertise that they serve alcohol in Scott Steiner's exact location. And as I previously mentioned, Brian Knobs told me in one of his 2 shoot interviews that Knobs did with me that, yes, they went to Scott Shoney's and the Nasty Boys got wasted there. Surprise, surprise. Wayne Bridges, who is a UK wrestling great, he was 83. He passed away. He was a huge star there from the 60s through the 80s. And by the way, Davey Boy Smith Jr., who is the Hannibal TV champion, is going to actually be wrestling the Blood Hunter in Gloucestershire, United Kingdom, this November. And Scorpio is also going to be on that card. So that's going to be quite an event that I will let you guys know more about as it approaches. In response to the Controvirus, Combate Americas announced that their March 13th event in Tucson, March 20th event in Mexico City, and March 23rd event in San Antonio are all being postponed. So that's weird. They're going to start running shows, I guess, April the 3rd, with like a pro wrestling TV studio format until the issues are sorted out. I know that Stardom over in Japan has been running events in an empty arena. I actually watched a bit of their event, which was interesting to see. I'm not a fan of Stardom, by the way, from what I saw. It's a lot of comedy wrestling, but it's weird to see it in an empty arena. I guess New Japan has canceled events over the past several weeks, and they're going to make an announcement soon about if they're going to start back up again. In UFC news, that Joanna, I'm not even going to try and pronounce her last name. Well, maybe I'll try. Zukov or something like that. She got her face really mangled badly in this fight over the weekend against Wheel Zhang or something. Sorry, I really have suck at pronunciations, but many people said this was the best MMA ladies fight of all time. It was a controversial decision for Zhang. Conor McGregor, I saw his tweet. He thought Joanna should have won. Her face looked really messed up, and according to the MMA Power Hour, Colin Crandall, who was covering the event, she only got $106,000 for that fight. Maybe more with bonuses, but MMA really doesn't pay their fighters all that well compared to boxing, considering that boxing is actually, you have gloves on. So in theory, it causes less damage. But there is like a lot of brain damage, obviously, still in boxing. And yes, the Contra virus or whatever it is, I'm sorry, some type of virus, it is the cause of these Combate Americas shows being canceled. WWE is saying that WrestleMania is going to go forward. So let's hope that's the case, because the Hannibal TV is going to be there at WrestleCon, WrestleMania weekend, with Billy Jack Haynes, Mike McGurk, who's going to be reporting for us. It's going to be a big few weeks for us down there. And by the way, I'm probably going to reschedule my Tony Atlas interview until WrestleMania weekend, because I honestly just didn't feel like going to Albany this past weekend. I had other stuff to do, and I just didn't feel like making the drive out there. CMLL, according to Dave Meltzer and WWE, were very close as far as which major wrestling promotion drew the most crowds of over 10,000 in 2019. If CMLL or WWE drew more, it'd be by like one show. So that's pretty impressive. However, Meltzer says this year is going to be different because these Friday night SmackDown tapings for Fox have been drawing really well. So WWE will definitely win that. Which company had the most crowds over 10,000 for 2020? And I just want to respond to one comment somebody made. We have a video, the highest viewed video on my channel is actually a intergender match that has about 5 million views between two people that don't even wrestle anymore, Serpentina and Chaz. This was a match that was thrown together on a Great North Wrestling event numerous years ago because one of the girl wrestlers didn't show up. So we threw Serpentina, who is like an Amazon type woman, against this feminine type wrestler named Chaz. And this was literally the first or second match on that event, which, by the way, the main event was Scott Steiner against Jeremy Prophet for the Canadian title. And Prophet was the champion back then, and he retained the title over Steiner. Coincidentally, Prophet's still the champion now on his third reign. I am going to be posting his latest title defense on here soon. But anyways, somebody commented that it was so ridiculous that the girl won in that match. But I just want to say one thing. In real life, I know both of those wrestlers. I know Serpentina and I know Chaz. And in a real life fight, the girl would have won. She is a real fighter and she's actually tough. The guy is not a real fighter and he's not actually tough. So, well, in a normal case, if you have a equally skilled male and female, the male is going to win because they have the genetic advantage. In some cases, such as that case, if they were to have had a shoot fight, it would have been the same outcome. So that's just my opinion on that. I told the guy that, and he called me like a PC, like girl power type guy. You know what? I'm fairly tolerant. I'm not really for intergender matches overall. I did try and have an amateur wrestling match against a girl. The last Great North Wrestling event, it would have been a shoot match, but the girl backed out at the last minute. But my only point was, if that was a real fight, the girl would have won hands down because she was a fighter, very tough. I know this personally. I know the guy was not a tough guy. A couple comments here. Big Richard said she was the better wrestler when referring to that intergender match. Yes, that's also true. Couple other, lots of comments about the virus on here. The Real Frisco says Scott Steiner needs a legit documentary. People are excited about Jacob Fatu and PCW Ultra March 27th. There might be another Great North Wrestling event between now and August, by the way. I am working on something, but the next official Great North Wrestling event is Saturday, August 8th. Davey Boy Smith Jr. is going to be there, challenged by Carl LeDuc, who I recently posted a match video of on this channel, the nephew of Joe LeDuc. The Almighty Sheik, Joseph Samel from MLW, is going to be there. Scorpio is going to be there. The Bloodhunter is going to be there. Lufisto, the new Great North Wrestling Women's Champion of Canada, is going to be there. Jessica Black. And tickets for that one start at just $15. Go to thehannibaltv.com for more information. It is our 13th anniversary event. I'll give you one more question or comment. Somebody, I'm not even going to say that comment. But yeah, you might not be wrong on that. Tommy LeBlanc says Jake the Snake is back. Perdado Funk says Lufisto is awesome. Michael L., what are some of my least favorite interviews I've done? Juventud Guerrera, Carlito. They weren't enjoyable. Who is more popular in Canada, Bret Hart or GSP? Zeru STDDDD writes me. That's not even close, GSP. Bret Hart, he may have been semi-popular here at one point in time, but he wasn't that popular. As I've said on here before, in the days when Bret Hart was champion, where I live, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, there is a 10,000 seat arena that at one point WWE used to go to, the Ottawa Civic Center. When Bret Hart was champion, they wouldn't even run Ottawa most of the time. They'd go across the border to where on the border with a smaller town called Hull, Quebec. They had about a 4,000 seat arena. And when Bret Hart was champion, they wouldn't run Ottawa. They'd run the small arena in Hull, Quebec that only fit about 4,000. And the thing might even have been 30% full. I remember particularly some of those shows. There was a Bret Hart versus Jim Neidhart match, for instance, that they may have been lucky if over 1,000 people were there. One more question. Big Richard says Tabarnak. I will suggest you guys watch my recent documentaries, as my dog says hi here, on the murder of Dino Bravo, my recent compilation video. Then I also did one on the Sid Arn Anderson stabbing incident, and I did one on the Owen Hart fall. I recently posted those three. Those are pretty good. So have a good night, everyone. And I am on Twitter. I will answer questions on there at Devon Hannibal. And we are also on Twitter at The Hannibal TV, Instagram at The Hannibal TV, and YouTube.com/The Hannibal TV.